I bought this Audi S4 as a parts car for my blown up S5. I was going to strip it, fix the S5 for cheap, and maybe even make money on the leftover parts. But I think I messed up, because this S4 is way too nice to part out. Which is wild because this is a fire car. Now obviously it didn't burn to the ground, but enough so that it ended up totaled on paper. And the more I look at it, the more it seems like it might be worth saving. So now the entire plan is in question. Do I strip the S4 and save the S5? Or save the S4 and find another parts car for the S5? If you missed the last video, this 2013 Audi S5 was listed on Copart as a flood car. But when I got it home, there was no evidence of water damage. Just a blown up engine, missing front end hardware, and a mangled up wire harness. Which means I need a lot of parts. And this S4 was supposed to be the answer. Now it might just be another project. So now let's go back in time when I first got the S4 and I still thought it was a parts car and I was looking it over for the damage. We gotta go over this thing because it looks pretty good. I'm gonna be honest, I kinda like it. Now, previous owner definitely modified this car. We have custom wheels, carbon fiber duckbill, carbon fiber splitter, carbon fiber little door handle covers, carbon fiber mirrors, and then continuing with the carbon fiber steering wheel. I like that. Also, look how dark this tint is. That is 100% illegal. The interior, super nice. It is so dark in this car, you guys can barely see just because the windows are tinted so much. It's crazy. But also, we have some wiring going on down here. And I can see that wire goes up. And then I can see that it comes out up top by the mirror. And then I noticed in the door panel, it's a dash cam. Never heard of this one before. Anything cool in here? Oh, more wiring mess. We'll dive into that. Let's go check out under the hood. Now, fire car. I would expect it to look a lot worse under here. I'm guessing this is where the fire was. Everything's kind of covered, and I don't know. I can't tell if this is dirt or ash or fire extinguisher, but is it just dirt road? I don't know. But you would think if there was a fire in here, there would be something melted. Like all of this rubber gasket is soft. I don't see any burn marks anywhere. I don't know where the fire was. He's got these custom aftermarket headlights and the wiring looks crazy. So maybe that set on fire, but I don't see anything melted here. Same thing on the other side, crazy aftermarket headlight wiring. I don't see any fire. For now, I think let's get it on the lift, get it in the air, and look at what we got going on underneath this car. Car is in the air, let's go explore. So obviously, we already saw our new wheels, but behind the wheels, look at that. Yellow and purple coilovers, that usually means KW. I don't see a sticker on them to prove that they're KW and not some like off-brand, but that's exciting. I like that. Looks like we have the stock catalytic converters. I did notice from the back that it looked like we had aftermarket exhaust tips, and I actually think that, what brand is this? There, see, AWE. So these are aftermarket. The mid one is also AWE. It looks like we have a catback. Oh, what about right here? Yeah, AWE. So we have a catback AWE or AW exhaust. I think that's actually the same one I have on the Supra. I like the way the Supra sounds, so that's exciting. What about the suspension? So yeah, same thing, yellow. And then, oh yeah, look. So KW coilovers, that's awesome. That is an expensive brand. I've never had KW coilovers. Ooh, a sway bar, so ECS tuning sway bar. So this car is looking better and better. We need to get back to business though. Where is the fire damage? So I mean, again, just looking around, it just looks dirty back here, no fire. What about the left side? It all looks fine. I don't see anything here. So front of the engine, we got our radiator fans. It looks like we have a stock lower pulley here. Hi, it's me from the future. Quick little interjection. This that you're looking at right here, not a stock crank pulley. Stock crank pulley looks like this. The crank pulley that's on here looks a lot like this one from ECS Tuning, so we can just add that to the list of aftermarket parts that this Audi S4 has. I'm gonna guess that the upper pulley's also stock. No fire damage. And then, so here we have our alternator and our starter wire. Oh yeah, okay. That's, I think we found it. Okay, I got my light up in there, so hopefully we can see a little bit better. There's our fire damage. Okay, so the back of the alternator melted. The wires that go to the alternator melted. I'm guessing also the wires that go to the starter are melted. Now the question is, what started the fire? I'm guessing one of the two failed. So if the alternator failed and was overcharging and produced way too many amps and caught the wire on fire, or maybe the starter failed and was drawing way too much current. Maybe one of the connections was loose and just shorting out. I'm not sure. So we found our damage, but the thing is, I need to make sure that this engine is good. I mean, that is the #1 thing we need for the S5. So in order for me to make sure this engine is good, we need to fix that wiring, fix the starter, and fix that alternator. But that doesn't make sense. Why am I gonna go through the work of fixing the starter and the alternator and the wiring if that's the only damage? I just fixed the car. Like, this is a nice car. You're telling me that the starter, alternator, and this wiring goes bad, that salvages out this car? I remember when I took the S5 apart, I commented on how awful that starter location is. You're telling me that the work to replace the starter and the alternator is so time intensive that this is a salvage car? That doesn't make sense. Hear me out here. What if I bought a third parts car and fixed both of them? Then we'd have a parts car that we sell on eBay for profit and a working S4 and a working S5. Oh God, guys, what am I doing? All right, here's the deal. 95% sure we're gonna fix this car and make it a car again rather than parting it out. A couple things that I did that I'm just gonna summarize quick because they were taking too much time. The cowl was missing hardware, just like the S5. I was worried that they took the ECU. So the cowl came off, the windshield washer reservoir came off, the ECU is still in there, we're good to go. I also disconnected our battery. Now the reason why this took a while is because there is some lovely wiring in this trunk and it was distracting me. And it went back here to a relay and it was just really poorly done. So I disconnected the wiring to make sure it doesn't set on fire. I disconnected our battery. Now, I'm finally ready to get to work on this thing. I think we have a path forward. I think we know what we're doing. There's a lot of work to do this starter. It's a pain in the butt job, but we're gonna get it done. As you can see from my S5 video, the starter is underneath the engine mount and one of the bolts comes from the bell housing side and that is being blocked by the catalytic converter. So we need to take off the engine mount and we need to take off the catalytic converter. But to take off the catalytic converter, we need to take off this cowl so that we have more room to get to the catalytic converter bolts down there. We're gonna have to drain the coolant because coolant hoses go through it. That's right, in order to replace your starter, you have to drain your coolant and disassemble the whole side of the car. It's fantastic. I'm excited to do it. Got a little unlucky and the O-ring on this valve broke off, so I'll have to buy a new O-ring. Luckily, I can get them local to me really cheap. While we're down here, why don't we get the alternator out? We have to take it out anyway, and we'll be able to see more of the damage. Oh, there we go. Come on. Whew. All right, there is enough room. Here's our tensioner. Well, would you look at that? There is a crusty alternator. That's a bit of fire right there. It definitely got hot. Now you can see why I had to cut the wires. I would not have been able to get that nut off or even pulled this connector off. So glad we got that out of the way. And then we can see up in here. So first thing I wanted to look at, nothing else looks too bad around the engine. Sure, like right here on the block, there's some ash, I'll say, but you can see like that's all just gonna wipe right off. There's not actually anything wrong with the block itself. And then we can see our starter and the crispy wires that go to the starter. Just based on how crispy the black nut is right there where the starter wire goes to it, I'm guessing the starter is who started the fire. You can also see how the engine mount goes all the way around it, and it's a pain in the butt. So before we go up top and start digging around up there, I think we should pop off our wheel, pop off our fender liner, and maybe just see if we don't really need to. here was the hardware that was holding in the fender liner. So instead of buying the missing hardware, they self-tap it. With that fender liner out of the way, we'll have a much easier time redoing the wiring. And we also need to take out these bolts here. So you got 1, 2, 3 bolts. Those are for the engine mount. We also have these 2 bolts up here for the engine mount bracket. This is like a 3-piece engine mount design. Luckily, this is the easy side because the other side has an oil cooler in the way. Small wins, you know, small wins. I think we're gonna go off the recommended path here. I thought that the catalytic converter was in the way of the bolt, but it's not. But I'm wondering if we come from the other side and just completely remove the engine mount, I am curious to see if we can get to the bolt from this side. Now here's the best part. I need to remove the engine mount regardless. So instead of starting up top and removing the cowl and removing the catalytic converter, I'm gonna keep going down here and just get rid of the engine mounts and see if that gives us enough room to not have to mess with anything else. Now an engine mount is holding up the engine, so if you take it off, it's gonna fall. That's where this tool comes in. It's a bar, goes across the top of your engine, and you got some chains and hooks and levels so you can keep the engine up in the air and remove the engine mount. So let's lower the car, take off the intake, and get this set up. All right, now you can see how this bar works. We're gonna take out the engine mount, which means this side of the engine would fall down. But now with this nice bar here, we're supporting the top of the engine against the chassis. Now when we take that engine mount out, the engine shouldn't fall on my head. Now we should be able to go back underneath and take out our engine mount and see if that's gonna give us enough room for our starter. Now you saw when I was putting the engine support bar up there, I moved the wires first. I'm gonna do that same thing down here. We got the wires that go to the starter still, this ground, and the 2 plugs for our radiator fan. There we go. Have to cut the wire with that. But sometimes the best spot for you guys is also where I need to be. So then you just look at the back of my head. I don't think you guys want to look at the back of my head, but right now, you gotta. There we go. Okay. Wiring is out. With all that wiring out of the way, we got a lot more room to work down here. So we're finally gonna take off our engine mount here. Woo. Okay. So there is the part of the engine mount that bolts to the block. Now we should have enough room to get the part of the engine mount that bolts to the subframe, and the other part of the engine mount that bolts to the subframe, the part of the engine mount that bolts to the block, and the other part of the engine mount that bolts to the subframe. Woo! That is a complex engine mount. It's out though. Back in the air, and we can see if that was worth doing or not. Cause, I don't know. With the engine mount out, we have a nice look at our starter here. Now it looks like we have a lot of room. I mean, we can very, very easily access the bottom bolt there. So these hard lines here, I might have called them AC lines before. These are the transmission cooler lines, I'm pretty sure. They are right in the way. And then right above those is the catalytic converter and the exhaust. So even with the engine mount out of the way, I can't get my hand back there to get to the bolt. So that is the problem. And then you can see from the side, so here's our axle, there's our catalytic converter. I can't get my hand in there as well. It's just, there's no room. Oh, that's it right there. Okay, that bolt on the left side. I can't even turn the camera enough to put it in the middle of the screen, but that bolt right there is what we need to take off our starter. It looks like there's plenty of room, but the hard lines are right above it. And here's the angle I'm at. That's the exhaust, and it is tight. I'm going to try for a little bit to get an extension on it and get a ratchet on it so I don't have to take off the catalytic converter, because that's going to be a pain. Boys, things are looking really good right now. I have a socket on the bolt. Let me show you the path that I took here. Hold on, let me show you my cart. I have every single wobble extension on a 12-point 18mm socket. Okay, so back here from the transmission, in between the transmission and the downpipe and the catalytic converter, through this hole, and then you can see it right there. So on the inside of the catalytic converter little mount right here, and then I just shove the camera way up in here and you can see we are on the bolt. So quite the journey of wobble extensions. If you don't have wobble extensions, definitely get them. Now the real question is it gonna come loose? Not using an impact for this. We just got the wrench on. Ooh, we're fighting a lot of wobble extension. Oh. Now, hold on before I keep turning. Oh, that was easy. Now, what I want to do is keep the bolt in the hole and keep all of the extensions in the socket on there. Because if I take that bolt out, it's going to be so much harder to get it back in. So I'm hoping we're just going to loosen this all the way, and then I'm going to disconnect the ratchet, leave everything where it's at. And hopefully, just like that. That should be loose. It's still in the hole, because remember, it goes through the bell housing, through the engine block, and then to the starter. So it's still being held in place by the bell housing and the engine block. So extension through here, and then there is our starter bolt loosened and out of the starter. Oh, I'm so glad that we tried that. Okay, so we just have that bottom bolt. Now, luckily, I have a second set of wobble extensions, and we should be able to get this last starter bolt out. Oh, come on. Oh, just the light. All right, bottom bolt coming out. There it is. Now we gotta be careful still. We need to take this starter out without knocking the bolt out on the back. I think that should be okay. Oh, there we go. There we go. Oh, starter's out, and we didn't have to take off the catalytic converter or the cowl. Oh, and the bolt still right there. Perfect spot. Ugh, I love it. I love it. I might be getting too excited when I don't know if this is every issue with the car. But we have our fire damaged alternator, our fire damaged starter, and the wires that we cut off that were in the way. We will probably reuse this engine mount. It feels firm, so I think that's good to go. We'll also reuse the alternator hardware. But this right here is apparently all it takes to salvage out a 2014 Audi S4. I think, again, we could do all of this work, put the starter back in, all the new wiring, the new alternator, and still be with a dead car. Who knows? The best part is I have all of the parts right here from the black S4. We already pulled the alternator. We already pulled the tensioner. We already pulled the starter. All I had to do was run outside and quickly pull the wires that went to them. So I didn't have to spend a single penny to get these parts. I already had them. And now you're thinking like, well, you're gonna have to buy them anyway for the black S5. That is what a parts car is for. That's what this white car was supposed to be, and it still might be, but most likely not. So a third parts car with the engine we need and the wiring we need, it's already gonna have that. And that's why parts cars are so good. I can take more parts off the S5 for the white S4, buy a parts car. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I almost just immediately started putting that new starter back in, or at least, new to me. I suppose we should look to see if for some reason the fire melted our block, but it didn't seem like it was that big of a fire. This is fine. There's no holes. It's barely even charred. We're good to go. The only concern I would have is if it like somehow ruined our head gasket. But I mean, like all the oil leaks are coming from, kind of hard to see, but the oil leaks are coming from above, probably from the valve cover. I suppose before I put the starter back in, let me just spray some brake clean around in here, get it cleaned up, make sure we're not missing something. I thought this was gonna be the case, but I cleaned it up with brake clean. So on that note, let's put this thing back together. Oh, I'm so excited. We'll start with the bottom bolt so we can keep it tight to do the top bolt. All right, top bolt time. And again, I'm not risking the impact or the electric ratchet here because it's not worth the time. Oh, it's tight already. Okay. Oh yeah. Woo. Okay, hopefully I can get the extensions out without losing them. Woo. Got it. Okay, now we can just tighten up that bottom bolt all the way. All right, new starter is in and tight. Now we just have to do the amazing part of getting the engine mount back in. Let's lower this side of the engine so we can line up the engine mount bolt, bolt that in, and get this engine support bar out of the way. I am getting excited for this car. Let's get the wiring back in place so we can get the alternator back on. Okay, wire routed. So we got ground. This wire that branches off goes to the radiator fans. We have these two wires here that go to the alternator, and then the two wires that go to the starter are plugged in. And this wiring here is for our engine mount. That's right, the engine mount has a sensor built into it. That's nice. This one goes to our oil level sensor. I don't think it's gonna be in the way, but I might have to unplug it, we'll see. Right when I was gonna put the starter in, I got a nice little visit from my baby boy and my wife. So I hung out with them for a little bit. Cam loves the lift, okay? Whenever Cam comes in, he wants me to hold him and just walk underneath the car, and he just points. He points at everything, I name it, he wants to touch everything. So I think I'm raising a future car guy. I better be, at least, if I'm doing my job right. Anyway, back to the alternator. Whew. Man, just a tight fit, but we got her in. Now I am gonna plug in the wires before it bolted in. Now we just get in our tensioner behind it. Okay, and then some bolts. And then the bolt for these two lines here. Now that's the repair complete. The starter, the wiring, the alternator, it's all used new to me, but we got to do these belts, and that tensioner is right against the radiator fan. So I don't know if I'm going to do that without taking the fans out. Okay, forgive me. I'm going to have a light on my head because I can't see nothing, but I can get to one of the tensioners with this, and then I do happen to have an actual, like, really thin tensioner tool, and I need this one for the supercharger pulley. I can barely see up here, so you definitely can't see up here. So you get to just watch me do it. I do have a little, tiny little rod here that I'm gonna slide into. I can't talk now because I got it in my mouth. Okay, I cannot slide that in. There's not a lot of room here, guys. Listen, I'm just putting the belt on, okay? Oh, come on. My back. Well, I lowered the car to see if it was easier from up top. It ain't easier from up top. So we just gotta get her done somehow. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, we got the accessory, or the serpentine belt on. I'm pretty sure the supercharger belt should be easier. Ouch. Yeah. So with this one, I can, I have enough room to put this rod in there and hold it for me while I put the serpentine belt on. I don't know if I can. Okay. There we go. I couldn't do it with the phone. Oh baby, that was a struggle, but got all the belts on. Belts are on everywhere. I guess that means we try to start it. I kind of want to check fuses first. Now I've already been in here to check if we have the ECU. So now we can go in here and check our fuses. The way I check fuses, there's probably a faster way, but I just put my voltmeter on continuity, and if you touch both sides of a fuse and it beeps, it means the fuse is good. We're good here. Let's put this cover back on. And then we're just gonna do the same thing back here. Check these fuses. Fuses are good. Now this is probably an extra step I don't need to do for a first start, but I'm kind of just excited. I want this car put together as much as possible for our first start here. Intake is on. I'm a little nervous. So vent hose on the side of the battery, positive. Now when I slide this negative on, we're gonna run up to the starter, see if it's on fire. Go, go, go. Battery's connected. No smoke so far. Okay. I mean, I think we're good. I think we're good. Okay, battery's connected. Starter's not on fire. And again, we have oil. So I think we start the car. I'm a little nervous. I'm always a little nervous. This is the fun part though. Lord have mercy. Okay, so foot off the brake. Let's just turn it on. Okay, we got lots of faults and stuff. Let's actually check the faults first. See what we got for faults before we try to start it. I am reading codes out here, so if anything starts smoking, I can see it. Okay, scan complete. Everything except for media player has faults. I imagine all the codes are just going to be related to the wiring being on fire. I really only care about any codes that come back. So let's quick erase everything. Okay, so after erasing, here's what came back. Let's start with the ECU. What's it complaining about? Lost communication with TCM. That's important. That's interesting. We might have more wiring to figure out. What about start authorization? Comfort system central control. Please read DTC. That's what I'm trying to do, but okay, not very helpful. Okay, what do we got next here? Humidity sensor, TCM, no signal. And then comfort system. Oh, I think it was the other DTC was probably telling me to read this DTC. Yeah, this one's also complaining about the TCM. All right, let's figure this out before we start the car. Okay, so it's complaining about TCM, right? So it's the transmission control module is what TCM means. There is no separate. So like the engine has a separate ECU up in that little box, right? The TCM is just built into the transmission. So if we're not communicating with it, we got a wiring problem. I mean, immediately I come down here and I can see that it's plugged in and the plug itself looks fine. And we can see that the pins on the transmission as well are fine. So we just gotta hope we can find a broken wire, which I can actually see. Okay, I can see it right there. I don't know how that happened, but I'll put an arrow to it. That wire is supposed to be connected to that wire over there. So we just got a little wire to fix quick. Okay, lowered the car, disconnected the battery. Always disconnect your battery when you're messing with wiring. However, I thought about this. How is that wire to the transmission cut? It's nowhere near the starter or alternator, so it didn't get hurt in the fire. I'm trying to put two and two together. How does a starter, alternator, and that wiring harness, you just watched me do the work, how does that salvage out a car? And on top of that, how does the wire to the transmission get cut? Whatever, let's get the car in the air, let's fix the wire. You guys tell me what you think, how that wire got cut. Maybe it was hurt, maybe it was cut during transport, I don't know. This is actually a horrible spot because this is as much room as I'm gonna get to work on this. I don't know how I'm gonna work on this without blocking your guys' view, but quick tip, this is called a seam ripper. It's for stitches, like sewing, but you can use it to cut sheathing off of wire. There we go. Make sure when you're using a seam ripper like this, you want to, that red ball is towards the wires. You want it, that red ball should is there to protect your wiring so you don't cut it. I learned this seam ripper trick here from the humble mechanic. I'm gonna have to get dangerous here though. I can't get the red end in. Got the sheathing pulled back. Got our wires exposed. Get you guys a little bit of a close-up here so you can see that brown wire is cut. I imagine it's a ground. I mean, maybe it's a power wire. It's pretty thick, but like the green wire here next to my thumb, there's a little bit of damage to the sheathing, but obviously the big problem is gonna be the brown one that's cut. I don't have a lot of room in here to do much work, and there's not much wire hanging off. I got the sheathing off the bottom side here by just scraping it off with a utility knife. I couldn't get a stripper in there. I mean, it seems like I could have. Yeah, see, the stripper wouldn't work for this, but we got that one. That's not the problem no more. This top one should be easy peasy. There we go. So we got her stripped. And for this, I'm just gonna do these solder connectors. Sometimes I like to crimp on a connector, and that should make this a little bit easier. Yeah, okay, that'll do. All right, I think we're good. Nope. Oh God, that made it worse. Quick, pull it off. Yeah, pulled apart on me. I just don't have much wiggle room here. A crimp might just be better at this point, actually. Let's try a crimp. All right, that didn't work out. I just don't have enough wire to play with. So we're gonna switch to an individual crimp and heat shrink. So we slide the heat shrink over first, because if you crimp it first, you can't get the heat shrink on. Now we can put this on our crimper so it's ready. Slide it over the wire, crimp. Same thing, crimp to one side, get this ready on the other, slide it over, crimp, slide the heat shrink over it. Alrighty then, that wire crimped and heat shrinked. Heat shrunked? I don't know. That wire's repaired. These other ones that are just missing some sheathing, I'm just gonna wrap them in some electrical tape quick. Probably, I mean, listen, to be honest, it'd be better to just plug it in, see if it's fixed, and then come back down. But I'm just gonna wrap it up in tape here. Okay, plug her back in. Now, let's go clear the codes again, see if we fixed it. Okay, more codes came back this time, but we're just gonna quick erase again and see what we got. We're hoping for 0 faults this time, because most of the faults, I think all 3 of the faults were TCM related. Okay, we got 1 fault. I think access start authorization is going to tell me to read the other one, right? Yeah, please read DCT. I don't know, that's useless, but thank you. And then electronic central electric. I'm not sure what that do. Control module faulty. Oof. That's not very passive or sporadic. What control module? Radio, navigation, brake, electronics. Interesting. Multimedia. I'm not sure. That's not a very useful, but it says passive and sporadic rather than an active code. So let's just, man, I think we just try and start the car. Okay, I mean, good news. No more TCM communication errors. I don't know what the other faulty sporadic control module issue is, but let's start the car. One of my favorite parts of any new car is the first start. So here's to hoping nothing starts on fire and the engine runs without any bad noises. You know, I don't want this to be another Subaru where I spend a bunch of time working on it and it has rod knock. Oh no! Oh no! Here goes nothing. Let's go! No fire! Engine's running! No misfire! Let's go! I love this part. No fire under there. We have that coolant leak. Remember, I ripped that O-ring. So we got to fill our coolant. We still have no coolant. Let's rev it. I want to hear it. I want to hear it. Quick rev. Quick rev. Oh! I can hear a supercharger? Okay, turn it off. Turn it off. We have no coolant. We don't want to run too long. However, we have a running S4. Whew. They salvaged this car out because of a starter, an alternator, wiring to it, and one cut wire to the transmission. That is the current world we live in with automobiles. That is a little sad, I'm gonna be honest. The previous owner put $11,000 worth of parts that I have found so far into this car. $11,000. And he just like let it go. Maybe he was bored of it, but like, what? I don't understand. I'm happy, right? I have the car now. I fixed it. So, you know, a little bit of, I earned it, but previous guy could have just did a starter and alternator and had his car. Could have had his car back. You guys can do this too. I think that's the coolest part. I just showed you there are wins to be had. Sure, this is like my 8th car from Copart, and it's the first one I've gotten where it's an easy fix. But you just got to be a little bit smarter than me when you're picking what to buy, okay? You can get cars like this. Replace a starter and alternator. Boom! Audi S4. Quick interruption and a friendly reminder that you guys hold the power. In my last 2 videos, you guys are the reason why they have done so well. Subscribing, liking, and commenting tells YouTube that my video is worth showing to the masses. So you hold the power, make sure you vote responsibly. Now, back to the video. I don't know if you guys heard it, but when I revved the car, I heard a supercharger whine. I have never had a car with a supercharger before. I want to hear that again. But there's a little more work that we need to do first. And the best part is, we're going to fix it in this video. I want to drive this thing. I'm not going to cut you guys off here after hearing it start for 30 seconds. Step 1 of getting to be a roadworthy vehicle is we're disconnecting the battery. Again. There's a lot of custom wiring that the previous owner did. We're going to rip it out. I'm curious about what the wiring is in the glove box. Now, we saw this wiring earlier during the walk around, but I want to see what it all is. Let me Google this and see what pulls up. And it's a Android Auto from Alibaba. All right, well, at least we know what that is. We're gonna leave that for now. That's gonna be a pain in the butt to delete. Like it goes through the hole, and it's probably connected to this, and that does not sound fun. What is that? HX Plus? Look, even that wire is exposed up here. This is crazy, people. Yo, is that a pistol? This guy was strapped. He drywall screwed. Oh my God. He drywall screwed a holster into the... what are people doing? Stop. My perfect car. Something a little more concerning as a fire hazard is the wires that were twisted together and exposed back here and just dangling from the trunk. So let's follow it, see where it goes. I can already tell it goes up under here. So we're gonna have to pull this out, see what's going on. Some evidence this is done recently is the headliner's down and the side piece is out here. Same thing, headliner's down on this side. I just gotta figure out how this rear pad comes out now. Looks like the 2 speaker grill covers come off, and then there looks like 2 bolts there, 1 and 2. Let's take those out, see if this slides out. Okay, I got this off and it's right here. This is a Starlight headliner. So the positive and negative is for a Starlight headliner. That's fantastic. I'm guessing that's already installed. I hooked up the positive and negative to the battery. We got a Starlight headliner. Look at this guy went crazy with this car. So here's what we're gonna do. To keep this interesting, there's only 2 wires that we need. Brown one is ground, red one is positive. But we don't want that Starlight headliner to be on 24/7. It'll drain the battery. So we need the ground can just go to a ground, but we need the positive wire to go to something that's only active when the car is on. So the first thing that we need to do is confirm that the wire we want to use, which in this case is going to be the white and purple one, is only powered when the car is on. So I'm going to stick this relay back in. So here I am, I'm back probing this relay, and currently the red wire and the brown wire, so red positive, brown is ground. You can see with that setup, we're currently at 12.7 volts and the car is off. So the red wire he was using means that his Starlight headliner was on 24/7. We don't want that. Whereas if I switch the positive to the white and purple wire, we currently don't have the 12 volts. So that means that the white and purple wire is currently off. There's no power going through it. And now if I just walk up in here, turn the car on, And now you can see, again, white and purple wire, brown for ground. Now we have battery voltage. So that's all you have to do to confirm that the wire you want to use is only on if the car is on. So now I'm going to cut these zip ties. One over here too. Bring the wires back through this hole so they're not going into the trunk. And then I can see wires go through this hole over here, and I can just follow them. Now we have both of the wires that we need, and they're not hanging from the top of the trunk. The ground wire we're just going to cut so it's a little bit shorter, strip off the end, crimp on a little O-ring connector. Always test your connections. I'm pulling on the wire, pulling on the ring. They're not pulling apart. It's connected, it's strong. So that's our ground wire done. Now the one that's going to be harder to show you, the positive wire. But we want to start with a fresh end because this is kind of ruined. We're going to strip off twice as much as normal because we're twisting it together. Split it in half. Now the hard part for you to see, I got to strip the wire on the purple one, twist them together and tape it. We have our positive wire stripped and split. And we have our white and purple wire stripped and split. Almost forgot our 15 amp fuse. Definitely want an inline fuse. Never power anything directly off a wire, because if there's no fuse to limit how much power goes to it and it shorts out, well, it'll cause a fire. Or it could. So here's our 15 amp fuse. Here's our twisted together wire. We just cover it in tape. And that should be the wiring for our Starlight headliner complete. It's fused. It's only on when the car is on. It's properly grounded. It's just done a little bit better than it was before. Now, obviously, it's off right now because the battery's disconnected. But if I connect the battery again, it didn't set on fire. The Starlight headliner is still off. And now if I turn the car on, the Starlight headliner turns on. I almost forgot the wiring that goes just right here. It's not plugged in, I don't think, to anything, but let's get it. You know, we don't want it hanging out back here anyway. It's ugly. So let's quick pop off our trunk deck lid panel and get that wiring. Oh, it just popped off, but hopefully I didn't break it. There we go. Okay. Wires removed from there. Okay, now let me put this all back together. Okay, interior's put back together. Better than it was before. This headliner was like popped off. This back panel wasn't in. So we fixed our Starlight headliner wiring, put our interior back together. I haven't done the trunk yet because the battery's still disconnected because we have more wiring to do. What I want to get rid of next is this wiring here. Obviously, it's kind of dangerous to be next to the brake pedal and gas pedal. You don't want to tangle up your feet while you're trying to go or stop. Seems really easy to get rid of. I popped off our fuse panel. That gave me access to the wiring here. I popped off our A-pillar trim. They always hide the bolt behind these little airbag tags. So you just pop that off, take out the one bolt, and it pops off. Now we can just pull these wires out. Oh boy, it's cleaning up quick. So we got everything put back together. I fixed this headliner. It was out as well. I fixed the other side headliner because it wasn't in either. Everything's just a little messy in here. No more wires coming from our headliner up there. No more wires in our footwell. No more wires hanging inside of our trunk. And no more wires hanging outside of our trunk. Now the last wiring issue is actually, oh wow, you can see it through our grill. We just have some wires twisted together hanging out. I'm not sure where they go quite yet. So let's take our bumper off and take a look. Oh, whoops. Hey, you know, it happens. Not bad. All right, let's take a look at the good side. And I say that loosely. So our horn is loose. This was not connected to, you know, this is our headlight washer. It was just dangling here. And we have a broken connector. I'm not sure what this is supposed to go to be honest. So bad side, here's that wiring I was talking about. Let me untangle all this. Here's our wiring up front that I was talking about. Nice and lovely. We still have the headlight washer over here, just chilling. I don't think this is where the horns mount originally. This is our garage door remote. They just shoved it into the bash bar. You know, that's actually better than what the S5 had. The S5 was just sitting up front. This at least is somewhere it can't come out. Well, I don't really know what these are for, what they do. I'm just gonna have to cut these short and wrap them in tape so they don't short out, and maybe one day I'll have a warning telling me what these are for. But for now, let's just get them out of the way and cover them up. All right, cleaned up the wiring a little bit. It's not perfect, but at least I know that that brown and green wire, not going to start a fire. Don't think it'll ever be perfect here, unless I just buy a bunch of new stuff. Okay, before we put the bumper back on, let's see if we can fix these headlights so they are bolted down and aligned properly. Okay, it looks like the alignment issue is the fact that this was flopping around. So if we can mount this properly, I think the headlight will fit properly too. We're missing this bolt because it was the wrong one. I had to use it somewhere else. All right, I was just double checking. The front bumper looks like it'll hold the headlight bracket in with the bumper. I don't need a bolt there. I mean, we can try loosening this bolt, letting it suck in. Now the fender's all the way in. Yeah, I think that's all we're gonna get out of that. It's a lot better than it was. I mean, this was like hanging out a whole inch, so better. For now, let's take our bumper back off, go fix the other side. Okay, same thing on the other side. Not really bolted in. Let's fix it. Just a random Phillips head here. Better than nothing. Oh, that's not good. There's water in that connector. So we'll spray it with a electrical cleaner. It's not really corroded inside, but we'll clean it anyway. So again, same issue on this side. It's just not bolted down all the way. Well, I think I figured out why it wasn't in the right spot. Turns out this bracket for the heat exchanger is up in the way. It runs into each other right there. Even kind of leveled out our heat exchanger. So maybe the previous person that just bent this for no reason. But now our headlight bracket fits. Now I'm gonna spray our electrical connector here with some contact cleaner. Man, this one fits a lot nicer than the other side. It still isn't perfect up here. All right, headlights are reinstalled, nice and secure. Now we can put the bumper back on. You can see the bumper's not attached yet because we still need our wheel liner, and then that has a bolt that goes through the wheel liner and the bumper to hold it. Okay, one more thing, and that's to fix our coolant leak and fill our coolant. And again, our coolant leak is just because this O-ring ripped. We just gotta take out the little drain valve, put this O-ring on, and put it back together. That easy. O-ring replaced. Let's fill our coolant. Normally I vacuum fill stuff, but today we're pouring it in. We'll leave that open while we start it and burp out the system. For now, there's one more thing I forgot we gotta do. Can't drive around without the battery tied down, and I might as well put everything else back with it. I think we're ready to start this thing and maybe even drive it. We gotta bleed the coolant, make sure that we're not overheating, make sure the thermostat opens. So let's turn this car on, let it idle a bit, and I wanna hear this supercharger and I wanna hear this exhaust. Let me know how it sounds. I see smoke. Oh no! It's smoking down there again. Did the starter start on fire again? Hold on, we gotta raise the car. What's smoking? I don't want this car to start on fire again. Hold on, we gotta raise it up. Okay, we good down here? Okay, I think we're good down here. Woo! Oh, we got a bunch of water dripping and stuff on the exhaust up there. I don't know if you guys can see. We might have like a really bad valve cover leak, or I don't know if that's water. The exhaust is smoking. It's not our starter. Thank God. I'll be honest, I was having a little bit of a panic attack. I know that cars smoke on like a first start, but that's usually when you have your hands all over an exhaust. Well, got my heart pumping. Okay, let's start it up again. Woo, it sounds good. I'm excited again. Coolant seems pretty steady right where it's at. So let's put our cap on. I can see smoke coming out from both sides, so we might have to do some valve cover gaskets on this thing. We're gonna let this run for a little bit. I think we're already almost up to temperature. Let me double check. Yeah, temp's climbing. While this warms up completely, I'm gonna fill the tires with air. Okay, cleaned up a little bit. Car is up to temp and holding. Why don't we go for a little drive, huh? Okay, that's better. Oh, dude, the supercharger. Oh, I hope you can hear that. Oh, we're chilling. We're not overheating. No check engine lights. I'm romping on it. I like the way it sounds. I like the way this feels. KW, come for coilovers. You guys kill it. Hold that thought. Let's do it again. Okay, this is faster than the TT. This pulls. I like that. I like this steering wheel too. This is comfy. All right, here's the thing. This was supposed to be a parts car. We ended up fixing it for free. I didn't spend a single penny to fix this car because we had the starter, the alternator, the wiring from the S5. We will still fix the S5. That is not changing at all. I'm already shopping for a parts car. Probably gonna have one bought and delivered by the time you're watching this video. But I don't want to talk about the S5. I want to talk about the S4 that we are currently in. This thing sounds awesome. It's riding awesome. No issue. What do you want to see from this car? One video and done? An overhaul on maintenance? Or something bigger? Beyond normal maintenance, this thing needs wheel liners. The bumper still isn't perfect. The headlights still aren't perfect. The wiring up front still isn't perfect. The washer nozzles for the headlights aren't in place. They're dangling there. There's so much more work we could do to this car. I just don't know if you guys are interested in that. So you have to tell me what you want me to do, what you want to see from me. On that note, there is still one more thing that I want to try before the end of this video, and I want to see if we have some sort of launch control. Oh, downshifting sounds good. Some supercharger noise on downshift, that's killer. Oh, I love that supercharged noise. All right, do we have launch control? Oh, the launch is good. All right, there we go. I love hitting a certain number. Can't say what it was, but I love hitting a certain number in every car I own. Check it off the list. Listen to this when I downshift. Dude. Oh man, I want to keep it. I don't want to sell it, but I gotta sell it. The nice thing is that it could take 2 to 4 months for me to get the title, and then who knows, 2 to 4 months to sell it. So I get maybe 6 months to enjoy this thing, and then off she goes. But I'm gonna enjoy it until then. On that note, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every single one of you, and I will see you in the comment section and in the next one.